and I was trying to figure out, how in the hell am I going to cut that tree limb? Well, I agonized over what to do too long. One night we had a windstorm came by, but it just whipped the hell out of that 10-meter antenna. It totally demolished it. So I don't have a 10-meter antenna, so I'm going to have to get something up. Maybe just a simple dipole or maybe some kind of a wire array or something for 10. But right now I can't get on 10. But I need to do that because I noticed the band was wide open today. But 40 meters was pretty much band on the rag. And there's no propagation. K1KW from K4KYV.
Band on the rag.
Yeah, band on the rag. Don, what are you, your 80 and 160 antenna, are you feeding that with open wire line or coax?
Oh, open wire line. There's not a sprig in this. There's not a sprig of coax in this entire antenna system, from the tank coil and into the transmitters to the radiating element of any of the antennas. Everything is linked together with balanced open wire line.
Well, you load that open wire line fed antenna up on 10, you'll be surprised. It'll probably work better than a dipole. Just build a balanced line tuner for 10 meters and use the antenna you got. It will work.
Well, I already have a tuner to do that. I'm thinking about doing that, which I can do very easily, because out in the now the little doghouse out at the base of the tower, that's where the antenna tuners are located out there. But I have one position on the switch. I've got a big rotary switch that I handcrafted out of probably half a dozen of those. The things you see at the Hamfest quite often. They're about 6-inch diameter rotary ceramic switches. Like people use them for linears and things like that. Well, I think I'd accumulated about a half a dozen of those, and I was able to make one big rotary switch that does all of the switching of the various bands and antennas. So I go out to the doghouse. There's one machine. Well, there's the 80-meter vertical here. Here's the 160-meter vertical. Here's the 40-meter dipole. I can make those selections. And one of the selections is simply straight through, because I use the same surge impedance open wire line going up the tower to the dipole that functions as a tuned resonant feed line with standing waves, as the one that runs from the doghouse to the shack, which operates as an untuned matched line without standing waves. But I can go to that one position. It just runs straight through. So all I need to do, I already got a little tuner to do it, is to hook that tuner up and try it out. The only thing is, it's broadside. It's broadside, kind of northeast and southwest, and I think a long antenna like that would tend to be more risky. I don't know how well it would work broadside, which means it probably wouldn't be all that good up in your direction or into Europe. But I know that I tried it once before, and it put a tremendous signal out in the Pacific Northwest.
Well, I'll tell you, on 10 meters, that thing is going to spray RF all over the place. There'll be multiple lobes, and you're right, there'll be a big null right off the broadside direction. But on either side of that, the higher you go in frequency, the little higher frequency lobes come closer to the broadside direction. So on 10 meters, don't worry about it. Just load her up and see what happens. And that's the best way to do it. Plus, the other thing, too, is when you do these antenna modeling things, you see these deep nulls and sharp peaks. Well, the peaks aren't as sharp. The nulls are nowhere near as deep. And on NEC 4, when I did a lot of modeling over real ground and stuff like that, oh my God, you just got a mishmash of stuff that maybe 5, 10 dB down, and between optimal and minimal directions, it's not as deep as, those pure curves that you see over perfect ground in the ARRL handbooks or anything in the azimuth or elevation planes. They're nowhere as near as sharp and discrete as you see in those patterns. There's a big mishmash. So, and when you get on, you'll be able to figure it out pretty quick. The thing is, you can get on immediately. Just build a tuner, put it up. And then on your tower at like 30 feet, on 10 meters, I would put a dipole up at 30 feet. Leave it at that. It probably won't interfere with anything. And just have the ability to go back and forth between those two antennas. And that'll give you a good comparative analysis of what the other antenna is doing. And, put that antenna broadside northeast, southwest, which is easy to do for a dipole. And there you go. You're done. And then you have your dipole up for 10 and good comparison against the high, open wire line fed antenna. And you know what you're going to find? In some directions, that high open wire line fed antenna is going to be like having a 3-element, 5, 6-element dB. It'll be like 10 dB louder, 15 dB louder in certain directions. You'll find it amazing. I did that years ago when I first moved into this location before I had any towers up, and I was just experimenting, and that's what I found out. Anyway, it's all about ham radio and experimenting and having fun, but you can get on 10 meters tomorrow if you want to, Don. Over.
Yeah, well, that's, of course, I have my transmitter, I can only run about 40 watts. I have a little ICO 720 with a highly modified, high-fidelitized 730 modulators, what I transmit. But it did very well on 10 meters, sunspot maximum before last, but then last maximum I didn't even get on because it was such an anemic cycle. I didn't bother, but I think this one's promising to be a lot better. So, and that thing's still here. I've got to fire it up and then, rig up a transmit receive relay system that's compatible with the other stuff. And but I think I can do that. And that's exactly what I thought about. And I actually have the tuner here that would. I may have to revise it a little bit, in case it needs series tuning when I have parallel tuning or vice versa. I might have to make a revision on it, but on what I have, but it should be easy enough. So I just got to get my ass in gear and do it.
Well, there you go. That's the issue. Get the tail section in permanent motivated modality.
Well, the other thing is, Don, if you have the direct feed into the ham shack with your switching system, you could have a tuner with, a few different plug-in coils. You get up on 20 meters, 15, 12, 17, all those meters that you don't have.
Yeah, I could do that. I think that little ICO 720 would be easy enough to, I think it would be easy enough to get on 12 and probably 17, all those different bands, and I could use them, I could press that DDS VFO into service and I'd have a good stable frequency source as well.
Yeah, you would.